Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. Another day of Jaguar training camp in the books. Hard to believe they've already been out there for 1 week. And it's equally hard to believe that tomorrow night, right about now, as a matter of fact, we have an NFL preseason football game, the Hall of Fame game, Canton, Ohio. The Bears and the Texans kick off the NFL preseason tomorrow night. So, boy, time is just flying by. Of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars have their in-stadium scrimmage on Saturday, and then a week from Saturday, they have their first preseason game, August the 10th, against the Kansas City Chiefs. But don't get too excited. I would imagine that will be the Chiefs junior varsity squad, although that should be led by Carson Wentz, right? He's the backup in Kansas City now, so that'll be interesting next week, the whole Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson storyline that we'll have to break down before preseason game number 1. We're going to talk a lot of Jaguars tonight. We're going to begin right here at the big deal of the night in a moment. My one-on-one training camp interview tonight is a little different. You know, look, I always enjoy talking with the mainstays, obviously, the name guys, if you will. But I wanted to do something a little different tonight, so I had a conversation with Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a former second-round pick of the New York Jets back in, I believe, 2020. Did not work out there for him in New York, obviously. Was released at the end of the 22 season, spent some time on some practice squads last year, and has now found his way to Jacksonville. But I think Denzel Mims has an interesting story. I asked him about his time in New York. I asked him about new teammate Evan Ingram, who had kind of a similar story with that New York market. So you'll hear my conversation with Denzel Mims, a former second-round pick of New York, now here in Jacksonville. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. Also, Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, will stop by later on in the 8 o'clock hour to talk about the first week of Jaguar training camp. And today, the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida Gators began camp. You know, it's 1 month from today, as a matter of fact. Today's July 31st. August 31st is Miami and Florida at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at the Swamp. So we're 1 month away. We'll go to Gainesville at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. My buddy Andrew Spivey of GatorCountry.com to preview Gator Camp as they started today to get ready for the 2024 campaign. So there is a lot to do. We are with you till 10 o'clock. Jacksonville, as always, we are glad you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, Doug Peterson is coming into year 3 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trent Baalke and Trevor Lawrence are really coming into year 4. Now, I know technically Trent Baalke was here in 2020, but he wasn't the full-time GM. That, of course, was Dave Caldwell, who did just a horrible job here for 8 seasons. Trent Baalke took over as the general manager in 2021. So to me, that's really where the timetable starts, the 2021 season. The first year for GM Trent Baalke, the first year for Trevor Lawrence, and then Doug Peterson arrived in 2022. And I don't think I'm breaking any news here that the 2021 roster was just awful, right? It was just not very good. Got considerably better in 2022. They made the divisional round of the playoffs. Nothing really changed between 22 and 23. They basically ran it back with the same guys, and they won the same number of games, right? 9 regular season wins in 22, 9 regular season wins in 23. But now that gets us to 2024. Year 3 for Doug Peterson, year 4 for Trevor Lawrence, year 4 for Trent Baalke as the full-time standalone Jaguar general manager. And I got to tell you, and I've had this thought really the entire offseason, but it's really manifested and come into more light for me over the last 7 days being down at Jaguar training camp. This is the best roster they have had. This is a better roster than 21. It's a better roster than 22, and it's a better roster than last year. What will that mean when the games start being played in September? I don't know. One would think it would mean more than 9 wins because that's what they've gotten each of the last 2 years. But really, from top to bottom, position by position, this is the best roster that the Jacksonville Jaguars have had since Trent Baalke arrived, since Trevor Lawrence arrived, and since Doug Peterson arrived. In fact, Trevor said as much with an interview with Brian Baldinger earlier today on the NFL Network. You look top to bottom at the free agents that were brought in this offseason, the draft picks that were made, the trades that were made, the guys that have developed from last year to now. And across the board, it's a better roster. It's going to be harder to make this team. You know, normally we have an undrafted free agent or 2 or 3 that make this football team. I'm not sure if one of those is going to make this football team this year. Late round draft picks? I don't know. I mean, maybe the practice squad for a guy like Miles Cole. Normally, in the last 3 years, if you get drafted, regardless of where it is, you make the team. I don't know if that's the case now. And those are just 2 of several points as to why I believe this is the best team, the best roster on paper that has existed since Trevor Lawrence came into the league. It's an exciting time. It is. It's an exciting time. The Jacksonville Jaguars have re-signed a lot of their young guys, have done well with the salary cap, have made nice acquisitions. And when you look at this depth chart, and I have it right here, we get it every morning when we go out to camp. And as I look at it, and I've looked at it over the last 7 days, and I've really looked at it over the last several weeks and couple of months of this offseason, to me, there's no question. The best roster that has existed here in Jacksonville in the last 4 years. Press Taylor, the Jaguar offensive coordinator, met the media earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. I was in attendance for that, as were several of the Jacksonville media here. And look, Press Taylor, the offense did not perform very well for the first couple of days of training camp, particularly Saturday. Saturday was when you guys on social media thought the sky was falling, and we've talked about that a lot over the last few evenings here on Hacker After Dark. But the offense has looked considerably better this week. Beginning Monday into Tuesday and today, particularly both days of full pads, yesterday and today, the offense has looked very good. I think it's been about an even push. I'll tell you this, Elijah Cooks and Parker Washington made great catches today. Great catches. That wide receiver room is crazy, how deep it could potentially be. Couple of guys at the top of that wide receiver room. Press Taylor was asked about both of them. We'll begin with his thoughts on Brian Thomas. I asked Press Taylor earlier. It looks like Brian Thomas in the last couple of days has had his best practices as a Jaguar. Does Press Taylor agree with that?
Yeah, I think we've seen from the day he got here, he's gotten better every single day. And that's all we're looking forward to. I mean, we don't need him ready to play week one today. We need him ready to play week one. So we just want to continue to see little bits of growth every single day with him, with his understanding, with the way he plays, the physicality he's seeing from our DB group. So he's getting challenged. He's getting challenged physically. He's getting challenged mentally. And so far, every day he's gotten a little bit better. And that's what we just want to continue to focus on with him and all our guys as well.
The thoughts of Jaguar offensive coordinator Press Taylor. Of course, these are all courtesy of our friends over at Jaguars.com. He was also asked about Gabe Davis. Now, Gabe Davis did not do everything in the offseason. Remember, he got injured last year in Buffalo. But he's performed pretty much every duty asked of him to this point in training camp. What has Press Taylor seen out of new Jaguar wide receiver Gabe Davis?
Yeah, I think you can see him do a lot of different things. He's been involved in the run game in terms of blocking first level, second level. You've seen him over the middle a couple times in the last couple days, is where you like to see that big body presence rolling through the middle of the field there, on whether it was a third down or just a backside reset concept. And then I think he's going to have a role as an outside receiver in contested catch situations, obviously down the field situations, as those things start to permit themselves. And sometimes it's hard to get those situations. You know, our defense plays certain coverages that we want to install certain concepts to get them installed in the offense, get everybody comfortable with it. But, you know, it takes time to research them, to get into it against the looks we want in practice when we're in competitive situations. So sometimes we're installing a lot of stuff in a walkthrough that we may not get the rep for a few days out here.
Speaking of that wide receiver room, look, I think there's 5 locks, right? You know, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, Devin Duvernay, and Parker Washington are going to make the team. They kept 7 wide receivers last year. Most teams keep 6. Let's go with the assumption that they're only going to keep 6 this year. That still leaves Elijah Cooks. That leaves Tim Jones. That leaves Joshua Cephas, who people love. That leaves a guy I'm about to talk to, and Denzel Mims, who's done some nice things. There is going to be a battle for that 6th wide receiver spot. Maybe they keep 7, and even if they do, you're still talking about a big battle between 3 or 4 guys at the tail end of that wide receiver room. That's what I'm talking about. When I say this roster's better, look at offensive line. To have Luke Fortner and Walker Little as backups, you could do a lot worse than that, man. You could do a lot worse than that in the NFL. I don't know how many NFL teams have offensive linemen 6 and 7 that have started as many games as Walker Little and Luke Fortner have. This team in certain areas, O-line, wide receiver, D-line, is all of a sudden very deep. And it's going to be hard for undrafted free agents to make this roster. We'll bring you more comments from Press Taylor in a little bit, where he's asked, how hard will it be for an undrafted free agent to make this roster? It's going to be hard. I mean, you just do a quick count on the depth chart, you can probably pick out 47, 48 of the 53 without even thinking about it. But the other 5 spots are going to be determined between 10 to 15 guys that have played regular season football here in Jacksonville. There are going to be players that are cut that have played in meaningful regular season games for this franchise. Again, it's a testament to Trent Baalke, the job he's done, this roster. And again, I think it's the best roster the Jaguars have had since Baalke, Lawrence, and Peterson have arrived. One of the guys they brought in late in the process, after OTAs, was a former second-round pick of the New York Jets. It did not work out for Denzel Mims in New York. I think Zach Wilson had an awful lot to do with that, just my opinion on the matter. But now he's here in Jacksonville, battling for a spot, maybe battling for a practice squad spot, just to see what happens. I had the opportunity to go one-on-one in training camp with Denzel Mims. That conversation comes up next. It's a Wednesday evening in Jacksonville, Florida, with Dylan Denmark. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. Jacksonville, as always, we're thankful you're with us right here, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Katie Ledecky won gold in the women's 1500 free today, her 12th career Olympic medal and 8th career gold. Ledecky is now tied for the most medals of any American woman and is proud to be part of the club.
Those women that I'm up there with now, they're people that I've looked up to for so many years. I consider many of them friends. That's very special to me to share that with them, and they've definitely inspired me. So I hope that, some little girl out there is watching and will come along and get up there with all of us someday too.
In other swimming today, France's Léon Marchand won gold in both the men's 200 fly and 200 breaststroke, while China's Pan-Zhang Li set a world record in winning the men's 100 free. American Tori Husk won silver in the women's 100 free. And the U.S. men's basketball team scored a 103-86 win over South Sudan. They're now 2-0. With this Summer Games update, I'm Ryan Radke, Westwood One Sports.
Are you an oblivious person hogging the sidewalk like a large dying snail? Do people stuck behind you ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have tons of quality beds at every price. So anyone, even people like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3-putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major. Year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hun, the drain really smells.
Yeah, wow, it does.
I think it's getting backed up. What should we do? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yes, I did. Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Need help with a plumbing issue at your home or business? Just call the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it.
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, is home all week at 121 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is ViStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday, featuring Dreams Come True. Tomorrow is Coors Light Thirsty Thursday with beer specials. Then it's Red Shirt Friday with fireworks, and the first 2,000 fans on Saturday get a water bottle, plus more fireworks. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Dave and Ammon here with Zero Res. So Ammon, you have worked for Zero Res since you were 9 years old. What makes Zero Res the right choice for cleaning carpets and tile?
I can think of 3 simple reasons. We have the best process, the best people, and our promise to do the best cleaning possible every time.
So what deals does Zero Res offering for this month?
July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, so for home carpet cleaning, we're offering $49 per room, and for businesses, we're offering 20% off.
Sounds like a great time to get your carpets cleaned. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Already a weekend to Jaguar training camp. Today was day 7 of practice. The second day in full pads. After practice wrapped up, it was a long one too. Longest one they've had. About 3 hours. 2.5, 3 hours. They got after it. Second day in a row in full pads. Little chippiness out there too. Some pleasantries were exchanged. Some tempers flared a little bit. Guys are getting after it. They have a day off tomorrow. They're back at it on Friday, and then they have the in-stadium deal on Saturday, and then all of a sudden it's game week, right? On August 10th, a week from Saturday, Kansas City rolls in for preseason game number 1. But after practice earlier this morning, I had the opportunity to catch up with a former second-round pick in the National Football League. He got drafted by the Jets. Did not work out for Denzel Mims in New York. He comes to Jacksonville looking for a fresh start. I enjoyed the conversation. I think you will too. Here's my training camp Jaguar one-on-one with Jaguar wide receiver Denzel Mims.
Jaguar training camp wrapping up at the Miller Electric Center, the longest practice yet. We're here with Jaguar wide receiver Denzel Mims. Denzel, how was practice today? Price was good. It was pretty hot today, but it was a good prices overall for the group, myself and the receiver group as well, and the whole team. It was a good day today.
It's hot out there, obviously 3 hours. A little, chippy out there. I guess you like to see that this time of year, though, right?
Yes, I love the heat. I prefer the heat than the cold, so I like the heat more than the cold any day.
You're a veteran in this league. I want to talk about some of your past stops in a moment, but some of the young wide receivers on this team, particularly Brian Thomas, Parker Washington, what have you seen out of some of these guys so far?
Those guys are very good. They come and compete every day, have a chip on their shoulder, and they just come to work every day. Those are some great guys to work with.
Obviously, Trevor Lawrence throwing the football. You've worked with a lot of quarterbacks in your career to this point. Your thoughts on Trevor and the way he's looking right now?
Ooh, I like the way he's looking. He communicates well. He's telling me where I need to be. I came in pretty late than the other guys, so he helps out a lot, and he looks real good right now.
What are the challenges? You talk about you came in after OTAs, after minicamp. You've been here now, 6-7 weeks, but what are the challenges of trying to pick everything up after OTAs?
Well, it's really only been here 2 weeks. How long have we done training camp is how long I've been here. Really trying to pick up the plays and get up the tempo with these other guys. I've been doing a pretty good job doing that, so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I forgot they signed you after OTAs, but nothing on the field, though, until training camp. What was your thought on coming to Jacksonville? I'm sure you had other options out there. Why the Jaguars?
I always wanted to work with Trevor Lawrence, and so I never got the opportunity to do it early on in my career. Got the opportunity now, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
And what was it about Trevor?
Arm talent, smart, and just competitive. He's a good guy. He's very competitive as well.
Couple more for Jaguar wide receiver Denzel Mims. Obviously a high draft pick. Things didn't work out in New York for whatever reason. I don't think you necessarily had the best quarterbacks up there, to be honest, but I'll say that. You don't have to. What did you learn from that experience, and what are you bringing now to Jacksonville after that experience?
Be patient and don't take anything too personal. Don't get too high, don't get too low. It's going to be a roller coaster for sure. So you got to be prepared mentally for that, and you got to be prepared physically for that. So that's why I think I learned from the Jets is just keep my head high and stay positive at all times.
It's interesting. I'm just thinking on the fly here. Your teammate now, Evan Ingram, kind of a similar situation in New York, high draft pick. Things didn't work out. Evan Ingram certainly working out here. Have you talked to him about that?
Not just quite yet. I've been just talking to him about football, how Jacksonville is, and trying to get up to speed with him and the other guys. So we just been talking really about ball. And then once we get done with training camp, then we'll get more personal into that.
A second-round draft pick such as yourself, you can see the talent. Yes. You're doing some things out there. Do you feel good about your game right now?
Yes, I am feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. I've been feeling really good about it. It's been coming up to speed, making plays when they come to my way, so I've been feeling really good about it all.
Fans have been great for the first week.
Yes.
What's your thought on the Jaguar fans? They're obviously excited about what's going on here.
I'm excited for them. It's great. I'm great to have them out here because, it's so hot. So just to have them out here is great, and have the fans cheering for all of us is really great.
Same question as we wrap up. 2 days. You get tomorrow off, Friday, and then you're in the stadium Saturday. What are you hoping to do? Invite the fans out? Tell them what to expect?
Just come out there and just ready to go, ready to cheer. We're going to bring the whole receiver group, whole offense, whole team. We're going to come ready to compete, so just be ready to go.
Denzel, welcome to Jacksonville. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a good one.
There you go. Jaguar wide receiver Denzel Mims here with us on Hacker After Dark. As always, thank you to our friends with the Jaguar PR staff for always helping us out with these one-on-one interviews. I brought up the Evan Ingram thing, and I literally thought about that on the fly as I was doing the interview. There was a time not all that long ago where Evan Ingram was a high draft pick in New York City, and it didn't work out, right? The term bust was thrown around. He comes to Jacksonville, and the rest is history. Now, I don't expect that to happen with Denzel Mims. I think it's going to be hard for him to make the 53. I think he's definitely a candidate for the practice squad because he got here so late in the process. But you learn never to say never. If Evan Ingram can be a bust in New York, come to Jacksonville and be one of the best tight ends ever in a Jaguar uniform, why can't Denzel Mims go from being considered a bust in New York to making a little bit of a career for himself here on the First Coast? Certainly plausible, right? Crazier things, much crazier things have happened. But I go back to the numbers game at wide receiver. And it's a good problem to have. But you have almost 5 locks in Thomas, Kirk, Davis, Duvernay, and Washington. And again, whether it's Seth Williams, Elijah Cooks, Tim Jones, Joshua Cephas, Denzel Mims. I mean, you got 5 guys I just named right there that are fighting for maybe 1 or at max 2 spots. You're going to have to release some good football players at the wide receiver position. You're going to have to release some good football players along the defensive line. You might have to release a good football player or 2 on the offensive line. For the first time since Balky arrived and Peterson arrived, got some tough cuts, man. Tough cuts. But again, like we talked about earlier, you know what that means? That means this is the best roster you've ever had since Trent Baalke became your GM and since Doug Peterson became your head coach. More on the Jaguars coming up. Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan does a great job covering the team. He puts out YouTube videos almost every single day, breaking this down, breaking that down. I always enjoy talking ball with him. We'll continue the Jaguar conversation with Jordan DeLugo, and we're about a half an hour away, top of the 9 o'clock hour, from going to Gainesville. My buddy Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. The Gators were on the field today as they kicked off camp, getting ready for the game against Miami 1 month from today. We'll talk Florida Gator football at the top of the 9 o'clock hour with Andrew Spivey of GatorCountry.com. Wednesday evening, Hacker After Dark. Glad you're with us. We roll on till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Summertime in your favorite city. 1010XL. Your summer station.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound, and a signing bonus? Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Join the fun with XL Primetime, Tuesday, August 6th at Firehouse Subs in San Marco. Get pictures and autographs from Jags players, cheerleaders, and Jackson DeVille. Tuesday, August 6th, 2 to 4 at Firehouse Subs in San Marco.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
The Drill takes you inside the ropes with PGA Tour insiders on Brunch with the Tour.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be.
Tuesday morning at 8:30.
Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
At what temperature is Fahrenheit equal to Celsius?
Southern Oak Insurance knows that you want to save money on your homeowner's insurance. So why not try some old-fashioned common sense? Ask your Southern Oak agent about our roof replacement schedule. It will save you money.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
At 40 degrees below zero, the temperature is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius. Why? It takes too long to explain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
For over 40 years, Play It Again Sports has served its customers with a winning, sustainable shopping model. Could say, we were recycling before recycling was cool. Save on quality used sporting goods for baseball, softball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, tennis, and more. Or sell us your gently used gear. We buy all sports, all seasons, and offer cash on the spot. Stop by Play It Again Sports today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainsports.com.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg, but Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There are a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesOfJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguar training camp now over a week in. They've had a couple of padded practices as well. Where does the team stand as we are now just a week and a half, a little over a week, quite frankly, away from the preseason opener against Kansas City? My buddy Jordan DeLugo does a great job covering the Jaguars for Generation Jaguar. Also does a lot of YouTube videos we'll tell you about. And Jordan's always kind enough to give us some time here on Hacker After Dark. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, enjoying training camp, getting back out there, dealing with the heat. But wouldn't rather be anywhere else and wouldn't rather be talking to anybody else about the Jaguars right now. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, Jordan, we always appreciate the time, pal. And all right, I want to ask you a bunch of things, but let's start Mile High View in totality, a week into camp, your overall thoughts on what you've seen so far.
Gosh, the sky was falling for the first couple of days, right, with the offense. But I do think that there was a stark contrast between the level of play on the defensive side of the ball versus the offensive side of the ball. But there are some factors that contribute to that, certainly. Defenses are generally ahead of offenses to start camp. I also think, though, just with the Jaguars, I had never seen the offense so far behind the defense, and I've been out at training camp for a long time. I think what contributed to that is Ryan Nielsen's defense just playing faster and more aggressive, having more man coverage, and there's a lot more speed on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the defensive backfield. You talk about all the guys they brought in this offseason, they can fly. Ronald Darby's extremely fast. You already had Tyson Campbell, who's a very fast corner with great length. You talk about bringing in Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince, Darnell Savage. All these guys are sub 4.4. So I think the combination of that and the offense not really necessarily trying to win every rep with the play call, they're just trying to get through their installs regardless of what the defense is doing, contributed to some unevenness. But I would say the last 3 practices, it's been very competitive on both sides with not a ton of mental mistakes, not a ton of egregious errors, just 2 football teams. I mean, 1 football team, right? But 2 sides of the ball being very competitive each rep.
Yeah, I agree. I think the offense has responded a little bit, but you're right. The defense was way ahead at the beginning of camp. And then to mention the secondary, that's one of the things that's maybe been the most surprising. I mean, you and I talked around OTAs. Do they need to bring in a veteran corner or 2? Look, we want to see against different competition, the Chiefs game, the Bucs when they come in for their scrimmages, and obviously the Falcons game. We'll get a little bit of a test before the opener down in Miami. But I've been very pleasantly surprised with the young guys after Campbell and Darby. I think we knew what we had with Campbell and Darby, but you mentioned Jones. I'll single out Braswell as a guy who's done very well here so far. DeAndre Prince has done some nice things. The young corners, to me, are one of the biggest surprises so far in a pleasant way.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been very competitive with the receivers. I think they've gone back and forth. You mentioned Christian Braswell. I think this is a guy that is just sick of not really being able to contribute. Somebody who the Jaguars drafted a couple years ago has dealt with some injuries, but he seems to really be buying all in on this aggressive, fast style of play that Ryan Nielsen is preaching. He's been incredibly physical, very aggressive. You've seen him going one-on-one with a lot of different guys, including Christian Kirk, and holding his own and playing good football. So that's pretty impressive to see, certainly. But Jarian Jones has been fantastic, rookie out of Florida State. The thing for me about the corners really is, at this point, like, I think Ronald Darby and Tyson Campbell obviously are your top corners, your 2 starters on the outside. The question is, if one of them goes down, do they have a quality number 3 to come in and really keep things going on that side of the ball? And you see these young guys competing, but they are all very young and they are all very inexperienced outside of, say, like a Buster Brown, who is not one of the faster guys out there at the cornerback position. So as we talked about, like, I still do think that there's room for a veteran who has experience at the position, but it is competitive. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And the question is, like, again, if Darby or Campbell go down and both of these guys do have injury histories, are you good to go? And I think that these guys are trying to answer that bell, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. On the defensive side of the ball, let's remain over there since we're on the topic. 2 days in pads. Joshua Hines-Allen looks like a man-child. I mean, those drills against the offensive linemen, Joshua Hines-Allen is eating their lunch. And that's a G-rated version of what he's doing to those offensive linemen. He looks like a man possessed out there.
Yeah, what I loved to see yesterday, and they started doing, one-on-one offensive line, defensive line when the pads come on. And what I saw yesterday, I saw him give a guy a bull rush. And on the very next rep, you dip and rip. So, like, you are setting moves up. You're setting up your next pass rush. And that's what you see the best guys around the league do. And Josh Allen is now in that category among the best edge rushers in football, not just from a run defense standpoint, which he's been there for a while, but also as a pass rusher. And yeah, anytime that you get Josh Allen one-on-one, it is going to be difficult for that offensive tackle to handle. And you've seen that over the last couple of years. I mean, he goes up against Laramie Tunsil twice a year. And I think that Laramie Tunsil talked about him on the top 100. He's a lot for anyone to deal with, even the best tackles in football.
Now, that's a double-edged sword. I mean, there's a good side of it because Joshua Hines-Allen is looking so good, but those offensive linemen that he's beating out there need to protect Trevor Lawrence come Sunday, September 8th. So how do you balance that, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the Jaguars' tackles, which those are the guys that go up against Josh Hines-Allen, Anton Harrison did a fantastic job as a rookie protecting Trevor Lawrence, going up against some of the best pass rushers that the league has to offer. on that offensive right side, defensive left side. And then we know Cam Robinson and Walker Little can both get it done in pass protection. So I don't worry about that too much. I think you could point at potentially, is Ezra Cleveland going to be a great pass protector at guard? I do think he's an upgrade over what you had entering last year at left guard. Overall, I think that the Jaguars' pass protection will be good enough, combined with the fact that Trevor Lawrence does get the ball out quickly and that this offense is designed to give him the ability to do that.
Couple more for Jordan DeLugo of Generation Jaguar. The most made-over position on the team is the wide receiver room, right? Last year, it was Ridley, Jones, Kirk, and Agnew. 75% of those guys are gone. Kirk, the only one that remains, of course, with Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, Devin Duvernay. I'll give some love also to Parker Washington and Elijah Cooks. I thought both guys today had some very good catches in one-on-one drills. How do you assess the wide receiver room a week into camp?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think that there's opportunities for some of these guys, especially talking about Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. Gabe Davis wasn't always the featured target in Buffalo, and he won't always be a featured target in Jacksonville. I think they're going to spread the ball out a ton. I think Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram are going to be the highest volume pass catchers, as they have been the last couple years. But Gabe Davis has an opportunity to be that physical X receiver that is going to come up with big plays and big moments, whether it's going over the middle and being able to take the contact, take the hit, go up and be physical down the sideline. And Press Taylor talked about this earlier this morning. And, also the run blocking element that he brings to the table as well, being a 220-plus pound receiver that's willing to get his nose dirty. And then the most exciting part of it really is, and the biggest question, how quickly can Brian Thomas Jr. be a big-time contributor for the Jaguars? Because he has all the physical talent in the world. You've heard Press Taylor and everybody talk about how he doesn't make mental mistakes. He's been growing every day. He's eager to learn. He's eager to work. And you have seen him improve over the last few days of camp, making more plays during the team portion of practice. So it's going to be really interesting. I think the Jaguars receivers last year, there was so many situations, whether it was Calvin Ridley not always being in the right place at the right time, not getting his feet down in bounds, not catching the football, Zay Jones dealing with injury and then not performing well once he came back, Christian Kirk going down with injury. So if these guys can just execute their assignments a little bit better, even if they're not more talented as Calvin Ridley heads to Tennessee, if they can just execute and do their job, I think they're going to give Trevor Lawrence and this offense a much better opportunity to be more consistent.
I have no doubt you and I did this 12 months ago talking about Tank Bigsby, right, when on the radio and how great Bigsby looked coming into his rookie year. And then obviously it didn't materialize once the regular season started. Fast forward to where we are now in July, almost August of 2024. And once again, Tank Bigsby looks pretty darn good out there. I'm trying not to get too overhyped again for the second year in a row because, quite frankly, it bit me a little bit last year. I was telling all my fantasy buddies to draft Bigsby, and obviously it didn't work. But man alive, Tank Bigsby's been one of the highlight reel guys so far in camp.
Yeah, and it's not just his running. He's been catching the football a lot too, as has Travis Etienne. But Bigsby, it was interesting to hear what Press Taylor had to say about Bigsby this morning. He talked about how he had some unlucky situations early on in the season last year, and that was teach tape for everyone around the league, some of the things that happened. But I was wondering, okay, if you say you trust Tank Bigsby and you say that he just had some really unlucky situations, why did you completely pull him from the game plan for so long? And so that's my question about that. But that's the past. Moving forward, they say they trust him. He has been performing at an extremely high level. He is a very talented running back. I think he has the opportunity to create a really good 1-2 punch with Travis Etienne. One thing that both these guys need, though, is an improved run-blocking offensive line. And the Jaguars have got to be able to do that. And a lot of that comes down to the mentality.
Final moments, Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. All right, Jordan, first things first. Give me, on a positive note, maybe somebody that wasn't on your radar a week ago that has stood out to you over the last 7 days.
So somebody that wasn't on my radar. I would have to say Brevin Easton has stood out a little bit at wide receiver. He's super athletic. Not the biggest guy in the world. I don't know if he has the best top speed, but just his twitchiness, quickness, explosiveness, competitiveness. I thought he had a really good day today. And I think he's looked like a guy that belongs in the NFL, but it's going to be almost impossible to make this roster with the skill that he brings to the field. Like, he's going to be battling behind Devin Duvernay and Parker Washington and all those types of guys. But I think he's been really impressive. I think that defensively, if you want to talk about the defensive side of the ball, I think you can say Amani Oruwariye has been really good. And we mentioned Christian Braswell. That's a guy, he was obviously competing for the back end of the roster, but he has really stood out with his aggressive demeanor, his speed, and just competitiveness.
Yeah, completely agree with Braswell. On the opposite side, let's go negative now. Maybe a guy that you thought was a lock for the 53 that maybe a week in you're starting to wonder about.
That's a good question. Tyler Shatley's been around for a long time. I don't think anything he's done here this week has been negative necessarily, but the more I look at the offensive line, the more I look at the entire roster as a whole, is there a place for him as long as there's, nobody that goes down for the season or anything like that? I'm starting to wonder because I don't think the Jaguars are going to move on from Luke Fortner. In fact, I know that they won't. Not this soon after him being a third-round pick just a couple years ago. Then you also have the tugboat, Cooper Hodges, who they absolutely love on the interior. He's starting to run out of spots.
You know what, Jordan, I agree with you, but this is not against him necessarily. But he might want to think about staying healthy. I mean, you start deeming guys, getting injured. And look, Cooper Hodges can't help that somebody fell into his knee last preseason, but now he's missed a couple of days with the back, and you start wondering, is he going to be one of those guys that can't help the club because he's always in the tub, as they say?
And that might be one of the guys that's not on the team this year. Maybe not even because of play, but because of injury, that people would be surprised about, because so many people have talked about Cooper Hodges as this up-and-comer, somebody who could be a potential starter down the road. But, yeah, you're right. You've got to be on the field.
And that's
one of the reasons I would like to see Tyler Shatley stay with the football team, because I do think he's been very available, and I think when he does go in, you feel confident that he's going to be an adequate football player up front, and I'm not sure that everyone that they're going to keep you can say that about.
And it's frustrating, too, because I'm a big Cooper Hodges fan, but it's like, man, again, not necessarily his fault. In fact, last year definitely wasn't his fault, and you can't help that your back flares up, but you would just like to see that guy be able to participate in these full pad drills, and he unfortunately hasn't been able to so far. As we wrap things up with Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguars, where you find him. Now, you do about 1 million YouTube videos a week. You're always breaking it down. And I'll give you credit. The Jaguars signed a couple of guys yesterday, one particularly at defensive end, who you had mentioned was available, and you had mentioned the Jaguars should be interested. Turns out you were right as they brought him in yesterday.
Yeah, Rasheem Green's a player who's been around for a long time. We talked about him earlier, going into his 7th year, but only 27 years old. So a young player, relatively speaking, but a guy who has a lot of experience starting his career in Seattle, playing a year in Houston, and then a year last year in Chicago. And the year in Houston, 2022, I saw him a lot because obviously the Jaguars play the Texans twice. And so you're doing work before the game, watching guys. And he's just a player that's big, physical. He's got the length and trip bulk he always looks for in defensive ends, and the size. And somebody who I think not going to be earth-shattering, not going to change the course of the Jaguars season necessarily, but you now have Trevis Gibson and Rasheem Green behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, and they're two professionals, two guys that have done it in this league and at times have performed at a very high level and been productive as rotational players. And so I think you can feel more comfortable with the rotation, and if there was an injury to one of your star defensive ends, edge players, you now have somebody who has the experience to actually go in there and potentially get the job done.
Yeah, Green, 6.5 sacks a couple of years ago up there in Seattle, and the Jaguars just brought him in yesterday afternoon. Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar. Jordan, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Generation Jaguar, about your content on social media, and where they can find you.
Yeah, most of the stuff's over on YouTube, obviously. Do a ton of video breakdowns, do a recap of every training camp practice, anytime there's moves made by the football team, go in and analyze them a little bit. But yeah, just trying to keep everybody updated and informed over on YouTube at GenJag. So yeah, really appreciate you having me on, Acker.
Jordan, always thank you for the conversation, buddy. I'll see you out there on Friday.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
All right, get out. Go on, get out.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Get out of here. Some rest, man.
Mornings on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a paint color namer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Irving Stapler.
Hi, Howie.
So the next round is word association. I'll say a word and you give me the first word you think of. Engagement ring.
Jeweler.
Gas station.
Fueler.
Aaron Burr.
Dueler?
Air conditioning.
Wow. Jeez. That's a toughie.
Come on, Irv. The sponsor's going to kill me now.
Oh, Bueller.
That's right, Irv. If your AC is struggling through the summer heat, the first name you should think of for fast, friendly, 5-star service is Bueller Air and Plumbing. The name to know to make sure you are cool.
Have a beer, Irv.
Cooler.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialists is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the Waterboy at waterboyjack.com.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. I will remind you, all our training camp interviews here on 1010XL, all the ones that I've done, all the ones that every show has done, and we've done a lot of them, and we'll continue to do a lot of them, you can find on the all-new 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in 1010XL Jaguars, like it, subscribe to it, and you will get notifications every time a brand new interview hits. We got about 3 or 4 new interviews per day, including my latest conversation with wide receiver Denzel Mims. So check out the all-new 1010XL Jaguars on YouTube. The Florida Gators began practice earlier today, getting ready for the college football season. We'll go to Gainesville. Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. Certainly one of our guys in Gainesville. He joins me next to preview Florida camp as they get ready for 2024. And at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts joins me to talk Jags, AFC South, and more. Busy Wednesday night here on Hacker After Dark. We're glad you're with us. With Dylan Denmark, I'm the Hacker Ryan Green, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and more at Progressive.com. The U.S. men's basketball team beat South Sudan 103-86 today to move to 2-0 in pool play. 6 Americans scored in double figures, led by Bam Adebayo's 18 points. The U.S. will take on Puerto Rico on Saturday. The U.S. women's basketball team returns to action tomorrow night against Belgium. The Americans will be looking for their 57th straight Olympic win. Rough day for the 3x3 basketball teams today. The U.S. men fell to Poland 19-17, while the women lost to Azerbaijan 20-17. The U.S. women's soccer team beat Australia 2-1 today on goals from Trinity Rodman and Corbin Albert. They'll face Japan in the quarterfinals on Saturday. And 2 more swimming medals for the U.S. today. Katie Ledecky won gold in the women's 1500 free. Tori Husk silver in the women's 100 free. With this Summer Games update, I'm Ryan Radke, Westwood One Sports.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns
oh, yeah.
to turnovers,
no,
and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice. Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. You know, one of the best things about losing 80 pounds, and trust me, there's a lot of them, is people coming up and asking me, Hacker, I hear about Awaken 180. How did you do it? How did you lose 80 pounds in 5 months? 80 plus pounds, as a matter of fact. And I tell them, it's the best weight loss program I've ever been on. My coach, Kate, meets with me every week. I get great guidance. We make a plan for the week. I eat the Awaken 180 food. I take care of myself, and the weight just melts off. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. They are changing lives. I'm one of them. You could be the next. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida is coming soon and now hiring for technicians, sales, and all positions. If you or someone you know are looking for a new opportunity, apply online at genesisnortheastjacksonville.com. Equal opportunity employer.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, is home all week at 121 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is ViStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday, featuring Dreams Come True. Tomorrow is Coors Light Thirsty Thursday with beer specials. Then it's Red Shirt Friday with fireworks, and the first 2,000 fans on Saturday get a water bottle, plus more fireworks. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball.
For over 40 years, Play It Again Sports has served its customers with a winning, sustainable shopping model. Could say, we were recycling before recycling was cool. Save on quality used sporting goods for baseball, softball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, tennis, and more. Or sell us your gently used gear. We buy all sports, all seasons, and offer cash on the spot. Stop by Play It Again Sports today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainsports.com.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Hey folks, Micken here for Zero Res. You and I know Zero Res loves cleaning carpets in your home. But did you know Zero Res can also clean the carpets where you work? Take a look at the floors where you work, and if they need cleaning, suggest to the boss they call Zero Res. For the month of July, Zero Res offering 20% off all commercial carpet cleaning. Call Zero Res, and they'll come out and give you a free estimate on what it will take to get the job done. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it backwards. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, you look on that sports calendar, college football. We are 3 weeks from Saturday away from the opener, Florida State and Georgia Tech. Of course, the Gators open up Saturday, August the 31st in that gigantic game against the Miami Hurricanes, and Florida is now on the field as they have begun camp, getting ready for the 2024 season. One of our guys in Gainesville is Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Andrew, it's been a little while, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man. Same to you. And it's football season. You know, it's getting close. And I always say once July rolls around and you get media days under your belt, it goes by quick.
There's no doubt about that. And here we are. The Gators are on the field. Big year for Billy Napier. I mean, obviously, let's not bury the lead. There's pressure on him coming into the year. We've talked ad nauseum about the schedule, and truth be told, I'll probably ask you about that schedule here in a moment, but you're around this team every day. Just your thoughts on the demeanor and the team mindset and the coach mindset heading into 2024.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all positive. A lot of buzz about the new strength and conditioning program that they're running under Coach Miles, and you know, I like that. But it's one of those things where you can be strong and you can, you know, look good and everything else, but you have to consistently play on the field, and that's been a problem. I will say that Florida does look like they're in much better shape. They look like football players who have been in the SEC for a little bit, and they look good. Now, can they, you know, stay healthy? And when they stay healthy, can they execute on the field? It's a lot of what ifs. I mean, I think we would all agree that there are several guys on this team that can do it. Can they do it? Marcus Burke, you know, can he be consistent and do it? I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of these guys.
Year 3 for Billy Napier. On paper, and look, I'm not breaking any news here. This probably should be the case. But this is his best team, right? I mean, you're around him every day and have been for years. This is Billy's best squad coming into a season, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it is, in the portal helps. You go out and get a guy like Asa Turner, for instance. That was a big one. Florida was a little bit shaky in the secondary last year. Now that they got Turner, they're a little bit more experienced there. He talked about that a little bit yesterday at his press conference, that he feels like this team is a little bit more veteran team and has a little bit more experience. But I will say, again, can they all get on the field together and execute? And I think the biggest question for me, Ryan, and again, this is a team, like you said, I do think that it's the most experienced team. I think it's the best talented team that he's had. But the depth is still a major question mark for these guys.
Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. All right, let's go kind of down the roster, position by position. We'll start at quarterback. Everybody wants to see Lagway, and maybe you'll see Lagway for a series or two. But this is Graham Mertz's football team, and quite frankly, Andrew, it should be Graham Mertz's football team. I thought he was fine, if not above fine, last year when he was playing and when he was healthy. Your thoughts on the quarterback spot, particularly, obviously, Mertz and Lagway?
Yeah, I mean, DJ's DJ. I mean, he's going to be, the most popular guy on campus when Graham is struggling because he's the backup quarterback. And, I think that happens everywhere in college football and football in general, in the NFL. You have a guy struggle, it's going to be the guy. But, when you look at a guy like Lagway, he has some developmental things that he still really needs to do. And, you look at him a little bit in practice, and he has the arm strength. He has everything he needs to do. The touch isn't really there. And at times, the knowing where to go with the ball isn't there. And again, that's nothing wrong. I think DJ Lagway is going to be a heck of a football player down the road. But Florida's very lucky to have a guy like Graham Mertz who can do it all. He knows where he's going with the ball before the ball snapped most of the time. He knows Billy Napier's offense and what Billy Napier's trying to accomplish. It's Graham Mertz's team. I do think Lagway will have some different roles and some different formations and plays that he'll come in and run just to give Mertz a little bit of a break in that running game. Florida wants to run the ball at the quarterback, and why not run a guy like DJ who's a lot better athlete, and that's not a disgrace to Graham. He'll tell you he's a better passer than he is runner.
Life after Trevor Etienne begins. Montrell Johnson was voted, I believe, second team All-SEC at tailback at SEC Media Days. We know about Webb, the kid from Trinity Christian. Trayon, I'm a big fan of his down there. Jaden Ball might have been the star of the orange and blue game back in April. I mean, there appears to be pretty good depth, right? Cam Carroll's another one, I believe. There appears to be pretty good depth at the running back spot for the Gators, even despite the loss of Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, I don't know that Kim Carroll's going to play. Honestly, I'm not sure. He wasn't practicing. He's hurt still right now, or still out recovering from that injury that kind of took him out last year, that torn ACL. And so I think the long-term prognosis for him probably isn't very much football, honestly. But when you look at the rest of that room, as you said, Montrell Johnson. I mean, that's your guy. That's your workhorse. That's your guy that you think you can hand the ball off to in big situations, and he's going to go make a play. I think Trayon Webb brings you that little bit of a factor that Etienne did, that change-up kind of guy, more of a speed guy, definitely more of a receiving running back than Montrell is. And then Jaden Ball. I mean, Ball looked, like you said, he was the star of the spring in the orange and blue game, and he's physical as well. And then you have KD Daniels, who came in from Mississippi as well. That's another guy that nobody's talking about. He's more of a speedier guy too. Put up over 1,500 yards in high school last year. So running back is one position that I'll say under Billy Napier that I just don't think I'll ever worry about.
A couple of more for Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. As far as wide receiver and tight end, life after Ricky Pearsall is set to begin. We know about Eugene Wilson, but it appears that Billy went out in the portal, Andrew, and got Eugene Wilson some help. Not one, but two pretty good wide receivers, it appears, will join Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, you had Elijah Badger come in, and you had DK come in from Wisconsin, and he's a guy that has that with Mertz from playing together, and you have Eugene, and then you have the freshman, and TJ Abrams is going to be a guy that I think is going to help them in the passing game. I think a guy like Amir Jackson, even though he's listed as a tight end, I think he's going to help him in the passing game as well. And Marcus Burke's a guy, and he's a Jacksonville guy, and a guy that everybody talks about. That hey, if he could ever be consistent, this guy may be an all SEC football player. And so can he be consistent this year? We'll see. There's a lot of potential at that position. I think it's a lot of which guys are going to develop and be ready to go to help those guys. But Eugene Wilson, and that was talked about a lot on Tuesday at Media Day, Billy Napier said, I'm going to feed him the ball as much as I can.
Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. Andrew, let's flip sides of the ball to the defense. They lost some good players into the portal. I mean, look, and they lost them to conference rivals, right? Princely, Emmanuel to Ole Miss. They lost a big defensive tackle to Missouri. Those were problems. Have they done enough in the portal to correct those issues on the D-line?
Yeah, that's a question mark for me that I think we have to really kind of look at, and that is who's going to go get the passer. We all think Tyreek Sapp can, and Justice Boone can. They haven't shown they can. So we need to see that. Joey Slackman's a guy that was, highly talked about in the transfer portal. Can he do it? LJ McCray's a freshman. Everybody's talking about. We'll see on there. You have Kelby Collins, who they kind of moved inside. Does that move inside help him a little bit? I think that defensive line is a major question mark of who's going to go get the passer there. I think there's some guys that they're hoping can do that, but haven't shown that. And if they do it, they'll be pretty good. If not, I'm not sure where they go. If some of those freshmen doesn't step up, or some of those transfers like Joey Slackman, they really need to step up, because that is probably the biggest question mark on the defensive side of the ball, is who can go get the quarterback on third down.
Well, when you talk about the back seven, you can lump it into the entire defense. I mean, the defense was awful at times last year. Let's not sugarcoat it. I've watched Florida football for over 3.5 decades. That LSU game was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. That Kentucky game, one of the worst performances I've ever seen. I mean, as we get ready to embark on a new season, Andrew, are Gator fans going to be happy with the progress of the defense, or do you think there's still going to be problems?
I think they'll be better for sure. I think the biggest thing is tackling. Can they tackle? If they can tackle, they're in position. You go back to the LSU game. They were in position to get Jaden Daniels down. They just didn't tackle him. You go back to the Kentucky game. They were in position to make plays. They just didn't tackle. This was a team that was really, really bad at tackling. I think Ron Roberts has come in and really stressed that. I think Will Harris has definitely done that in the secondary of really stressing that importance of tackling. I think they will be better. I think they'll be more athletic. You got a guy like Miles Graham at linebacker with Shamar. That's two really athletic guys. Derek Wingo, I think, is poised to have a good year. He looks good. He's dropped some weight and looks like he's more athletic now. And then, we talked about it in the secondary. There's some guys that, come in, and Bridges and Turner, that I think are going to have it. And, this is Jason Marshall's payday year. Everybody thought Jason was going to be a guy that was going to come in and, be a 3 and out, and he's still in school in year 4. So it's a big year for him, and I think Will Harris will help him there. I definitely think Harris plans to be a little bit more aggressive in the secondary than they were last year. That'll help them, and I think that veteran presence of Ron Roberts will really help Austin Armstrong as well. It'll be interesting to kind of see how those two communicate and really game plan once we get into the season.
Final moments, Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. All right, to the schedule. To me, it's a two-tier schedule, right? The first 7, the last 5. The last 5 is ridiculous. It's Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Good grief. The first 7, I think, are mostly manageable. I think that trip to Knoxville is going to be hard. But aside from that, the other 6 are absolutely winnable. Will Florida win all 6? I would tend to doubt it. But I look at 4 home games, Andrew, and that's going to tell the tale for Billy Napier to me. Miami, Texas A&M, Kentucky, and UCF. all 4 in Gainesville. To me, minimum, you got to go 3-1. Anything under 3-1 in those 4, and Florida's going to have real problems this year, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, you look at those games, like you said, they're winnable. You look at that Miami game, it's a winnable game, but it's also a very losable game as well. If you go into that game and you don't tackle, you're going to have problems. Miami has playmakers. You look at that UCF game. KJ Jefferson did nothing impressive in that game last year. They just couldn't tackle him. And if they can't tackle him this year, UCF's got some pretty good talent surrounding him as well. It's not that huge drop-off between Arkansas and UCF talent-wise there. And I think that those are the games that you got to win. That Tennessee game, that's an important game in Knoxville. And yes, it's on the road and it's a tough environment and it'll be tough for Florida to go up there and win, but they need those games. For this season to be a successful season, they need some of these games that are 50-50 to go their way, and the games they're supposed to win, they need to win those games. And that all starts with Miami. I really believe that Miami game is a big jolt either way, a positive or a negative for this team early on. I don't know that a loss there, especially a bad loss there, the message boards, the Twitter, social media, everything is going to be exploding on Billy. How does the team react in those situations? We're going to see. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It will test the mindset of the team early if that happens.
Miami is a gigantic game for obvious reasons, but I'll tell you this, too, and I've been thinking about this. The A&M game in Week 3, Billy Napier is in year 3. Mike Elko, that will be game 3. If Mike Elko in game 3 comes into Gainesville and beats Billy Napier, who's in year 3, to me, Andrew, that's a giant red flag. I think that A&M game, from a perception standpoint, is enormous.
Agreed. I agree completely. I think that game is a game that you've got to win. I think that's a game that, when you look at it on paper, A&M's got some talent, and they're going to compete. But if you're trying to show that your program is on the right track, like you said, beating a guy who's, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that'll be A&M's first SEC game as well with Elko. You can't lose that game. You can't lose that game in the Swamp. Winning in the Swamp is massive, and for Billy Napier to get things headed in the right direction on and off the field, and especially in recruiting, got to win in the Swamp in front of your recruits and commits and everything.
Andrew, final question. We got about 90 seconds. Again, you cover the team as close as anybody over there. Is there a number Billy needs to hit? Will it be an eye test situation? I mean, is it bowl game or he loses his job? Is it that cut and dry? I mean, what's the vibe you're getting?
Yeah, I mean, every time you ask someone, they don't really have a number. They more so, see how the team is. Obviously 5 wins, I think you and I are probably going through a coaching search in December. 6 wins, I think the same thing. I think when you get to 7, that's probably where there starts to be, okay, what was the 7 looking like? Did they have to come from behind and win in overtime in those 7? And then I think, obviously, if he gets to 8 or 9, I think he's safe. And I think 7 is where the question is, and anything under 7, I don't see it unless it's just some heartbreaking losses and maybe a upset over Georgia or something mixed in there with it. I think that would be the eye test. I just don't see how anything less than 7 you can get away with saying everything's okay and the program's going in the right direction.
If he gets to 9 and wins 9 games with that schedule, he's going to be coach of the year. I don't think there's any question about
absolutely. And the thing, Ryan, and I know we're cutting close on time real quick, is 9's possible. It's very possible. They've got the talent. It's a question of, can they stay healthy? They don't have the doubts. If they can stay healthy, 9's possible. Ole Miss, week 11, we know how bad Ole Miss plays down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point. Now, like I said, there's a lot of good logos. Miami's a good logo. A&M's a good logo. Kentucky's been a good logo. how good are those teams actually going to be in 2024? There are definitely some winnable games for the Gators. We're always winning with Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com, one of our guys in Gainesville. We invite every Gator fan to check out GatorCountry.com as Florida camp has officially opened. Andrew, thank you as always, brother. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely, Ryan. Take care, buddy.
This is our house. Yes, sir. Our house. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Our house. Hey, this is our house. This is where we live.
1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh, man.
Is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time home buyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time home buyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at TrustlineMortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Pickett here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg, but Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There's a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
As so
someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Family owned and managed for 20 years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming golfing atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Let's talk Jaguars and let's look around the rest of the AFC South with my buddy Cecil Shorts. He is a former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver, also a former Houston Texan wide receiver, and Cecil joins us weekly during the NFL season, and he's always kind enough to give us some time as well during training camp. Cecil, how you doing, man?
I'm well, brother. Excited. It's football season. Can't believe it's back. It was needed. So I'm just excited, man. It's a great time of year.
It is a great time of year. And a former player such as yourself, I mean, first week of training camp, are the guys excited? Are the juices flowing? What's kind of the emotion right now?
You're super excited. This is when it really counts. This is when it really gets going. This is when you know the season's around the corner. So you're juiced up, you're excited, you're pumped. Then you get even more excited when the pads come out after a couple of days, and probably be some fights out in practice. There'll be some hits going on. It's just so much fun this type of year, man, because it counts. It's the real thing. So leading up to the first preseason game, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. And it's grind season, man. It's time to really get better, time to really prove yourself on that field and come together as a team to make that run.
Cecil, we had you on right after the draft, and certainly a lot has transpired since then. And look, Joshua Hines-Allen, a brand new extension. Tyson Campbell, a brand new extension. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, a brand new extension. When you see these guys getting paid, these homegrown drafted players getting paid, what kind of message does that send to the guys in the locker room?
Well, I think Trent's being very clear on what he wants to do. He wants to draft guys. He wants to develop those guys. And if those guys are playing up to their potential or they see something in them, he wants to pay those guys. And with those three signings, that's what the message you're giving. And that's what you should do. You should draft those guys, develop, and they play well, give them what they deserve. I mean, Tyson Campbell's only 24 years old. You know what I mean? Like, Trevor Lawrence is still young. Hines is still young. Like, you got these guys for a long period of time. They're going to be solidified players on your team. So you're doing the right thing by paying them, and it sends a message to everybody in that organization, like, hey, we're going to take care of our guys. And that's a good feeling to have when your term is up and your time is up for that contract extension.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts here with us on 1010XL. In Jacksonville. Cecil going out there to practice. I've been fortunate enough to go out to OTAs and to minicamp as well. I told fans starting yesterday, you better have one of those depth charts in hand because there's a lot of new guys on this team. You know, when I look at a projected 53-man roster, I think you could have upwards of 15 or 20 new players that were not here in 2023. I mean, training camp is vital for every team. I'm not breaking any news there. But when you have so many new guys, free agents, draft picks, etc., boy, it's a very important month or so here for the Jaguars.
It's important, man, to build that chemistry, continue to build that culture. Guys get to know each other. I think, when you look at different free agents coming in like Mitch Morris, Ronald Darby, taking their experience and having their success other places and bringing it here, getting to know the guys, getting that chemistry with the offensive line, with the DBs, with whoever, whatever position they're playing. It's critical. This month is critical. There's less preseason games now, as we know. So the more practice time they get together, the more time they spend in that field, the more healthy they can be. It's a critical time and critical moments for everybody to continue to build that chemistry and get ready for the season.
A couple of things that have really stood out, and again, we're only 2 days in. They'll be back out there tomorrow morning, and we'll continue to move along here. First preseason game is 2 weeks from Saturday. But a couple of things that have really stood out to me. Number one, the thought of the collapse last year, right? As much as we want to get away from that, and I really want to move on, it keeps getting brought up by the players and by the coaches, the ones that obviously were here and were a part of losing 5 out of 6 to miss out on the playoffs. We think these guys just move on and they put everything in the memory banks and don't forget 6, 7, 8 months ago. But, man, that's not the case. They're using that as fuel, it appears, because they bring it up constantly when we talk to them.
Well, you have to at some point, right? You want to forget about it because it was you started off hot 8-3, one of the most talked about teams in the league, and then things happened. Didn't go your way towards the end. But you got to have, okay, why did that happen? How do we avoid that happening? Where do we struggle when it comes to that? Okay, red zone, we struggled last year. How can we get better at doing that in training camp? How can we fix those areas, right? We have new coordinators. How do we go about what's different about them coming in the season? So you got to really correct those mistakes. You want to forget about it, but also you got to learn from it and be able to move on and correct those areas that you need to improve on moving forward to be successful towards late in the season or the different areas that you struggled in. So I think it's important it's in the back of their mind. But as the new season comes, this is going to be about what can you do better and how can you perform with this new season.
Another thing that's really stood out, and maybe it's along those same lines, is the idea that the next man up needs to be ready. We know the Jaguars were just absolutely annihilated with injuries last year. But the message that Doug Peterson has sent, the message of new D coordinator Ryan Nielsen, and I even heard it today from some of the players. I heard it Darnell Savage yesterday, who wasn't even here last year. I talked to Andrew Winger today. He basically echoed the sentiment. We got to be prepared. Injuries are a part of the game, and you got to have the next man up mentality. You got to be ready. Maybe the Jaguars, Cecil, weren't as ready for all those injuries last year. They learned from that, and they're using that here in training camp.
I think you saw that when you go out and get a guy like Mac Jones, right? When you go out and get a former first-round pick or former Pro Bowler to be your backup quarterback, 2 guys I believe that were in the same draft class, probably maybe 2 of the best quarterbacks in that class playing together on a team. But your idea, your mindset behind that is, hey, God forbid something happens to our franchise quarterback. We need somebody to step in, and we need to be able to be productive during that time, right? We need somebody to step in and be able to make plays. We need somebody to step in and still produce sacks or still be able to block or still be able to do whatever the case may be. This is the NFL, period. So there's no excuses. Injuries are going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt. That's just the name of the game. You can't help it. But you got to have depth and guys that know what they're doing, and the coaches got to be confident in calling their name when that time comes. So yes, that's a huge thing moving into this season. And I expect the depth, the Jacksonville Jaguars all across the board to be much better.
A couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, I always remind you of this. You're still in the top 10 in a lot of stat categories here in Jacksonville at the wide receiver position. You're my guy. I'm going to bring that up as long as you're in that top 10. And so when you look at the wide receiver room, I got a picture last year in August, less than a year ago, and it's a picture of Jamal Agnew, Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Christian Kirk. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, that's a pretty good foursome, right? You could do a lot worse than that. I took a picture earlier this week. Well, Kirk's the only one there, right? Ridley's gone. Zay Jones is gone. Agnew's gone. In comes Gabe Davis. In comes Brian Thomas. In comes Devin Duvernay, a guy from Baltimore that, quite frankly, I don't think people are talking enough about. To me, he's a better version of Jamal Agnew. You played the position in the NFL for 7+ years. Compare and contrast the wide receiver room last year to what the Jaguars have right now.
You got a lot of speed this year, brother. and you got some depth. You got some guys getting older. I wouldn't sleep on a guy comes to mind, Parker Washington.
Yeah.
I know I've been reading some things about him. He's explosive. He's a great athlete. I know he's a shorter stature, kind of similar build to Christian Kirk. Can learn a lot of things from him. But when you look at the speed, when you look at Gabe Davis and Brian Thompson, what is that? Could jump off the board. It jumps fast. It jumps explosive plays. When you look at Christian Kirk, fast, explosive plays. I see more explosive plays happening this year. I think that's the mindset coming to here. Hey, how can we create explosives, which is 20-plus yards down the field? Even looking at Devin Duvernay, who was more of a kick returner specialist, right? Who could come in and do some things in the receiver position, whether it's slot or outside. But he's a fast guy. You know what I mean? He's a guy that's known around the league for his ability to take off on kick returns and be efficient in that level. So when I look at this roster this year, the depth chart would say it's speed, man. It's speed. Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, huge guys. Christian Kirk, Parker Washington, a little smaller. Like Elijah Cook's more of a bigger guy. So you have these names, but all of them bring one thing to the table to me. That's explosive plays. So when you look at that room this year, I think that's what the mindset was when creating this receiver room, and that's what they're going to get this year. Explosive plays down the field from a multitude of people.
Again, you lived this life for 7 years, and you're still very much part of the NFL and what you do, not only here for us, but I know you do a lot with Houston as well. So let's try not to get too X's and O's for the listeners tonight, but just a basic, entry-level thought here. Is the idea Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis are going to be field stretchers, which will open it up underneath for the likes of Kirk, Ingram, guys of that sort?
I would think so. When you look at Gabe Davis and what he's done, number one, he's been clutch. I think you look at the playoff numbers, you look at his yards per catch, him and Thomas both. They're like huge yards per catch guys, right? Guys that can run, bigger guys. You would guess they would be your post runners. They would be your go routes. Those would be your deep comebacks. Those would be your down the field shot guys. And then you'll use Evan Ingram, who had a great season the last two, but last year especially, you use him underneath. You use Christian Kirk, who could still go deep, but he can use him in the slot and go underneath or intermediates, as well as other guys. So I think that's the process. That's the idea behind it, but doesn't mean they can't do other things, right? Doesn't mean you can't use Brian and Gabe in different ways. But I think you'll see, I've not heard good things from you and others about Mr. Thomas so far in OTAs and the first couple days of training camp. But if he can make plays early on, this offense is going to explode. I truly believe that. It's not hard. The more rookies you see nowadays, especially from LSU, but the more rookie receivers you see kind of get involved early, they get comfortable and they make play after play after play after play. So if Brian Thomas gets going early, whether it's simple stuff for him to understand, right, going deep and making plays down the field, it can open up things for everybody else, because now you can't focus just on Gabe or Christian or Evan or try to, put guys in the box and stop the run. You have an arsenal of guys that can make plays down the field.
Final moments with former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Look, the offense has made plays. There's no doubt. There have been some good moments out there through a couple of practices. But the defense is making plays too, Cecil. And I think today in the red zone in particular, the Jaguar defense was cooking, man. Dewey Wingard had 2 picks off of Trevor Lawrence in the corner of the end zone. So the defense probably won the day, no question. But that's to be expected, right? We always hear the first couple of weeks of training camp, the defense is normally ahead of the offense. My question to you is why is that generally the case?
You know what? I still don't have an answer for that. I still try to figure why is defense always ahead. I think it's a simpler game for the defense, just being honest. It's a lot more moving pieces when it comes to the offensive side. And then defense, you're really just trying to stop that particular offense, right? On offense, you're reacting to what's going on the defensive side. You can change the play, you try to get in the best play. You got to execute off of what that particular defensive guy does. So it's harder on the offensive side of the ball. But you're right, the defense gets going early. But that's not a bad thing if you're looking at the Jaguars. You want them to be explosive. Stop the explosives on defense, get to the quarterback, make plays, get interceptions, take the ball away. That's exciting to see. And it's going to only make that offense better for this upcoming season.
As we look around the division, look, Houston, obviously the favorite. Heck, they've been in camp over a week. They play a preseason football game next Thursday night. We know about Tennessee and the money they spent. You were teammates with DeAndre Hopkins, right, in Houston. So you got D-Hop, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Tony Pollard. They spent $1 billion in free agency. And then Anthony Richardson coming back for Indianapolis. Boy, so this division's been completely transformed. It went from maybe the most boring, uninspiring division a year ago to, dare I say, one of the best divisions in the NFL. If you had to rank it out right now, we won't hold you to it here in late July, but right now, 1 through 4, how do you see things in the South heading into training camp?
I honestly think it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. And it's going to be fun to watch, like, Anthony Richardson come into his own, right? He's a specimen when you look at him. Extreme athlete. The question is, can he drop back and pass, right? Can he hit the open receiver? Can he read defenses? So with that being said, I think Houston probably is number 1 right now. Jacksonville's number 2. And I think those two will be close battles. And then I think Indy comes at number 3, not too far behind. I say Tennessee is pulling up the rear.
As we wrap up, final question. Look, we'll have you on certainly maybe 1 or 2 more times before the regular season. We'll start our weekly thoughts before Miami on September 8th, which will certainly get here very soon. But in the time in between our conversations, as far as preseason game 1, preseason game 2, what's kind of the mindset? What are you as a veteran looking to accomplish? If you're a young guy, what are you hoping to accomplish, particularly in that first or second preseason game, your first opportunity under the lights in 7 or 8 months?
Number 1, you have to know your assignment, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. Do what your assignment says. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Number 2, whether you're on offense or defense or special teams, you got to be seen. You got to make plays. You got to make sure you're on top of it. You got to make sure you're standing out on film. What are you doing to stand out on film? Maybe that's you covering a kick. Maybe that's making a big tackle. Maybe that's just simply doing what containing the outside, not letting the running back or the receiver get outside of you. Maybe that's just making the catch when they come your way. Maybe if you're a receiver, maybe that's you just killing the blocks. If you're not getting the ball, you're just killing in the blocking game. You have to stand out some type of way, because it's not just that one team that you're playing on for preseason looking at you. It's 31 other teams looking at you as well, because that's going to be a huge cut at the end of the year, and it's going to be tons of shuffling when it comes to players getting cut and going to what team. So you got to make an impact throughout that game to stand out on film. So not just your team, but the 31 other teams can notice you and see you, and you can possibly be on a roster when it comes to week 1.
Number 84 in your program, number 1 in your heart, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar, former Texan. Cecil, thank you as always. We'll do it again probably around the time cut day happens. We'll talk to you in about a month, my friend. Really appreciate you.
Anytime, RG. Take care, bro.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
And thank you to former Jacksonville Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts for joining us here on Hacker After Dark. You'll get Cecil weekly during the season. Well, he's always kind enough to join us here when it warrants, and he joined us right as our training camp got underway here in Jacksonville. We're now several practices in, 2 days in full pads. The Jaguars actually have a day off tomorrow, practice on Friday, and then they're in stadium deal on Saturday, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to. That was a big topic of conversation tonight, was the Jacksonville Jaguars, how the offense has responded. I think they've responded in a nice way, no question about that. The defense won the first couple of days of training camp. That has not been the case in the last 2. It has been much more even since the pads went on. And again, Trevor Lawrence, the offense looked pretty good today. Highlight plays today, Elijah Cooks made a couple of nice plays. Parker Washington made a couple of nice plays. That wide receiver group, man, there are going to be some tough cuts. You know the top 3, right? Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas. We believe Devin Duvernay is in the 4 spot. And then you got Parker Washington, Elijah Cooks, Joshua Cephas, Seth Williams, Tim Jones, Denzel Mims. There's a lot of guys that are battling, so we certainly will look forward to see what happens there. Speaking of one of those wide receivers, thank you to Denzel Mims for joining us earlier on here on Hacker After Dark. That was our training camp one-on-one that we did today, the former second-round pick of the New York Jets. Things did not work up there for Denzel. He comes down here to Jacksonville, and I asked him, why Jacksonville? And he said flat out, because I wanted to play with Trevor Lawrence. I think that quote speaks volumes, and that's the power of having a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence. It can attract guys that want to be a part of that roster. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will do it all over again tomorrow night on a Thursday,